Hi, it's Jonathan from Behind the Build, and I wanted to make you aware of a change. What you'll see in the title of the releases is Behind the Build AD and Behind the Build ID. Behind the Build AD is architectural design. Anything associated with architectural design will be released on Mondays. Behind the Build ID is interior design. Anything to do with interior design and its consultants will be released on Thursdays. I would ask kindly that as you hear this, if you could, to find the rating system in the format that you listen and consume Behind the Build, and please give it 5 stars. It helps us with overall engagement and visibility with a new audience. With that said, please enjoy today's episode. Welcome to Behind the Build. I'm your host, Jonathan Jacobs, and I have with me today interesting duo. I first spoke with Jess, a couple months ago, and she was going to go speak to Jonathan and see if Jonathan would be interested in this, and sure enough, he said okay. So today I've got with me MSDS Studio, based out of Toronto, Canada. And I have the 2 founders and principals of the practice. I have Jessica Nakanishi and Jonathan Sabine. So thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Like everyone that does this in person, we sat, we had some food. It was pretty delicious, especially on a bit of a fall, gloomy day. One of the interesting things about when I first spoke with you, Jessica, was I was on your website and I was taking a look. And for those that don't know, MSDS, their studio is a multidisciplinary design practice studio. They do interiors, furniture, lighting, product design. If you have a chance and you can check our Instagram, you'll be able to see some of the images of the work that they do when we feature that, this is out and it's featured. If you don't have the chance to go to Instagram, I'm going to highly recommend going to their website. The work is exquisite, and they didn't know that I was going to be saying this. No. So it's really nice. After speaking to you, Jess, on the phone, and I apologize for this long-winded intro here, but after speaking to you on the phone, I've been talking to a lot of different people, and I was like, if you don't know this, you gotta go look at their website. Start sharing with a bunch of people.
Very nice.
So
thank you.
All that said, I appreciate you coming here and doing this with me. That way of thinking carries through to the spaces people use every day. Kaplan's Appliances is in those spaces, and they're more than just an appliance store. It is a Toronto institution that has been family-owned for decades and trusted by generations of homeowners, architects, and designers. When you walk into their showroom, you are not moving through rows of appliances under fluorescent lighting. You're stepping into curated environments, each designed around brands like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Miele, Genair, Thermador, La Cornue, and Fisher & Paykel, so you can actually understand how these products live within a home. What sets Kaplan's apart is how they guide the process. Appliances are not just functional objects, they shape how a home works every day. Their specialists help narrow down choices with clarity and care, and when timelines shift, their dedicated scheduling team manages delivery and installation logistics so the experience stays seamless. They also host live cooking demonstrations with an in-house chef, which is the most honest way to understand performance. It's not about specs on paper. It is about how it feels to use these products in real life. If you want to learn more and get in touch with their team, email me. It's Jonathan, Jonathan, @waldenhomes.ca. I'm happy to connect you. For now, let's get back to Jonathan and Jess. I always want to start off these conversations in talking about your youth and the things that you were interested in during your youth. Were you scientific? Were you tactile? What were you? What kind of kid were you? Were you a bruiser? I'll start off with you, Jess.
Sure. I guess I would say that my dad was always a builder, worked at, sort of millwork shops and things like that.
Yeah.
And always had tools, always, Japanese, well kept, labeled Makita tools. And whenever he'd build stuff, I would always help him, which wasn't I guess, yeah, it wasn't necessarily encouraged, but I was just interested in building things with him. So there's sort of a early memory of me working with my hands and getting to touch materials, but definitely drawing and art and creative things.
What were you drawing? Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, I'd spend a lot of time drawing the title pages for my book review for school.
Yeah.
So it would be like this perfect replica of the actual book, like title. So, those are the things that I remember as a kid, because there wasn't as many like instances of me necessarily drawing, but that was something that I treasured, like all these little hand-eye coordination things.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I guess as an adolescent, skateboarding was like one of the reasons why Johnny and I really connected, I'd say, is we had a similar background, like, upbringing, but also kind of hung out with like a lot of kids who maybe from like the wrong side of the tracks, but we were like good kids.
But the right side of the tracks.
Yeah. And like skateboarding was a big part of our lives, like for my life in a different way than Johnny, but just like sort of throughout.
When were you able to do your first ollie?
Well, that's the tricky thing. I think like for a girl back then, I mean, I tried later, probably when I was, 16 or something, but I did sort of get criticized by 13-year-old boys at skate parks. Like it was really not encouraged the way that it is now. It's such a great like environment for skateboarding for girls right now. But it was more that I was immersed in it, I guess. Like I worked at a skate shop and it was just part of my world.
And where did you grow up? In Toronto?
Yeah. Well, Mississauga.
Okay.
Outside of Toronto.
What was it? What was a skate shop?
It was a mall skate shop. It was called West 49.
Oh.
Yeah. It was not, but it was the first time I got to build skateboards. And touch with my hands.
Yeah.
I understood, assembly for the first time. And like, I actually don't think I realized how universal the parts were, like axles and hangers and things that are just basics for construction and building for, anything with wheels, essentially. Yeah, bearings.
And not over torquing the screws when you're putting it in.
And then the kingpin was such an important part because that's a thing that snapped all the time. But that was probably like the first time really consistently building and like assembling things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess I was saying was sort of a common thread with Johnny and I when we first started. Like when we first met, there's just things that our upbringings were similar. So, we didn't get into trouble necessarily as much as our friends, but we still had like opportunities to like do things. And
did you know each other at that age?
No, he grew up out west.
Okay. All right. I'm going to get to you in a moment.
Sure. Take your time. I'm enjoying this.
So you were drawing the covers of novels for your book reports, focusing more on the cover than on the substance of the report.
Yeah, like drawing a lot
more. and when you had the free time, you were trying to spend your time in a skate park.
Yeah, or just kind of like hanging out in parking lots with friends, like just finding spots that were, again, kind of like architecture and design, and like without even thinking about it. That's sort of what you're doing. Like Johnny actually skated like growing up, whereas I was sort of around it more and tried it. But just going to different places, finding, that's the right height for like, or this curve is like the right, like level of ability for.
Yeah, I think like skateboarding is interesting because it exploits this pre-existing built environment.
Of course.
Right? Like that's what's so interesting about it. And you see the stages of skateboarding, it has to sort of change according to what
ability.
Yeah, the abilities, but also the landscapes available to them. Like there was in the late 90s, skateboarding became enough of a nuisance for companies and building stuff.
Oh yeah,
that they started installing like the skate stop.
Yes,
and architects and designers actually started designing stuff with skateboard prevention in mind. You see the benches are offset, and they get really creative with it.
Yeah,
and so when that happens, those skaters can either like do even harder tricks on those things, or they just have to move to different locations and stuff. Yeah, it's really like resourceful sort of discipline. Yeah,
and appreciating things that you never would have thought of just through obstacle, like park benches or things, like just thinking about things for scale and capability.
Yeah, well, the basics of the angle of a curb, right? Could either allow you to be able to do a proper grind or not.
Yeah. Or
Right.
like loading dock banks. There's this whole other. I mean, like the city, any built environment is kind of, it means different things to different people, and
Yeah.
architects can look at it differently than
Mhm.
a builder or a user or
Yeah.
a truck driver driving through it. And to a skateboarder, there's this
Mhm.
whole other
Appreciation.
cartography
Yeah.
overlaid on top of that city. It's kind
And also, I mean, it's the ability to see a city when you're traveling on a skateboard, right? If you're
Yeah.
heading to a certain destination and you're riding along the street and you get a sense of what's around you, what it all looks like.
and that goes for
feels.
cycling too. I often
Yeah.
think that like cars are the worst way to see any city, right? Because you're stuck and you're preoccupied with the frustrations, the task of driving, right? But walking, cycling,
Mhm.
skateboarding, those are just terrific
true,
ways
yeah.
to engage with cities.
And for anyone that's not familiar, if you've never been to Toronto, where this is based out of, what I can tell you is that you generally are spending some time in a car in Toronto in some
Mhm.
capacity, whether you're in an Uber or you're driving yourself or a taxi or you're on a bus, like whatever means of transportation you are utilizing to get through the city, it is generally unbearable in some capacity.
Yeah, that's why we prefer biking,
Yeah.
cycling for sure.
Yeah, I actually remember when I chatted with Paul Raff when he came here to do his interview. He showed up on his bike.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
He's the only person that's showed up on a bike. I was like, oh, you
That's
biked here.
really
He's like,
cool.
yeah, how else am I going to get here?
Yeah.
That's why I like you, Paul.
Nice.
Yeah, it would be too
Uh,
hard to do that across the Gardner. for
Yeah,
us.
exactly. So I guess what I'll do, I'll come back to you to talk about like the next phase of your life in a sec, and I'll go ask you, Jonathan,
Okay,
what was it
sure.
like for you as a young child? Obviously, skateboarding,
Right, yeah.
I say skating because
Yeah, skating. Yeah. I guess what we're doing here is like looking for connections to what we do now.
No, not necessarily.
But I mean, it's not that difficult.
It's if you want to make it that you
Right,
can. But
right.
to be honest, when I was a kid, I was in grade 6 and I was bored with my friend and I just called the cops. I mean, that was me as a kid. I was like, I'll just test some boundaries and see what I can do. And I called the cops. It had nothing to do with me professionally. It's just like, that's me.
Called the cops.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I called the cops and then they called back.
You called and hung up.
I called
They
and
called
someone
back.
answered and I was like, oh no. And I hung up.
Yeah.
And then they called back and it's a different ring when the police call you.
Okay.
Interesting.
And my friend and I bolted out of the front door. And my dad was a lawyer.
Yeah.
And like we walked back in, like we just knew we were in trouble.
See, this is before social media. And
That's
all
good
that
trouble.
great-
That's good
yeah,
trouble.
That's good fun.
I mean, you might say that, but you didn't have to deal with my father. That was like one of the last times I ever did that. So I mean, yeah. So it doesn't have
one of the last time, not the last time.
No, that was
You
the
did
one
say-
and only time I ever crank called the police. My God, it was brutal.
That's
Anyhow,
funny.
so yeah, it doesn't have to. It's just
yeah,
you.
Well, I think I was similar to Jess in the sense that like I like to draw a lot and I like to make things and stuff like that.
When you were drawing, what were you drawing?
What was I drawing? I mean, okay, you're a kid, right? So the first things I really started drawing were superheroes.
Yeah. Okay.
And Transformers.
Okay.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if I look back now, I
Optimus or who you drawing? Who you drawing?
Starscream.
Okay, Starscream. Okay.
If I look back now, like the drawings are like I can draw fairly well, but I was less preoccupied with composition and things like that. And I think, if I'm not reading too much into it, I think the drawings were very schematic. I was very like concerned with like what was going on between the characters on the page,
Yes.
or the precise, like sort of the technical aspects of what a transformer might look like, or even sometimes like looking back now, I would draw like I guess I'd seen like car commercials on TV where there's like robot arms building cars, and so I was really interested in like the process of things being made,
Right.
and so I think if you want to find some sort of like seed of the future designer, you could look there.
So what I found actually interesting is you described what was happening as a relationship between the different things you were drawing.
Yeah.
So you're drawing scenes. You weren't just drawing like an individual transformer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that to me,
Right.
that's
What?
I never really asked that question direct.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're gonna say.
And also like in a lot of cases, the drawing wasn't the artifact that I was pursuing. You know what I'm saying? It was like the drawing was working things out.
Yeah.
It's a process more than a finished object.
I say this because like I was also like I was really into drawing as a kid, and here I am interviewing myself as I'm saying the same thing. But like I remember in like history class when we'd be learning about World War II, I would be drawing out the scenes that we would be describing in my textbook.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And like tiny little images of like aircraft carriers with like planes, and like they didn't have
And World War
carriers,
II gets
World War II,
right? Aircraft carriers?
I don't think so.
Maybe.
I mean,
it wouldn't have played a big role.
No,
But there are lots of scenes in that war that would have made for horrible drawings.
horrible drawings. Like I
Your parents
remember
were-
drawing like the plane with like the bomb. I'm like, dude, I
right.
can't believe I just drew that.
Yeah.
Wow, crazy.
Yeah. Anyhow,
pretty-
Mhm.
but the scenes, it's like
yeah.
the scenes because as I say that because you talk about schematic drawing, like that's what it leads to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and what did you what this kind of open question to both of you, like what subjects did you like in school?
I mean, art.
Yeah.
I actually loved math, but art was the main thing. Like I went to a school, like not an arts, definitely not an art school. It was actually I think it was known for ESL. So like a lot of immigrants and not a huge focus on art. So I won all the art awards. Like it was just like no competition. And in that sense, it's kind of like being the best of the worst, but
I mean, it was a big school.
it's a big school. Yeah.
How many students?
I don't know. Johnny describes it looking like a jail. Like it's so big.
Right.
And
The
so
schools, I
institutional.
mean, I think there's like 3,000
Oh, I
students
don't
in your
know.
high school.
I'm not sure.
They're
Maybe.
very big.
But yes.
Anyway.
So art for sure was like the highlight. But, looking at our son, he loves math. So it's like, yeah, there's like an early interest in like problem solving and
Right.
just thinking about numbers that
Right.
it's just there. Like I loved math.
I think I liked everything. I'm more oriented towards like literature and the humanities. I liked the sciences as well, like biology and chemistry. I had very good teachers in some subjects in high school. I was
Makes
very
such a
lucky.
difference.
Oh my God, yeah.
Such a difference.
So I really enjoyed it. They were difficult, but I really enjoyed chemistry and bio. And yeah, I think English took a while. Like I think that a lot of people, you mature into it. Like in high school, I'd read novels. And I don't think I could read well. I couldn't properly read. So it took me a while to become like really enamored, like, really enamored with literature and words and stuff like that. But yeah, high school, yeah, kind of everything except for math. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what point did you start skateboarding?
I think I was 9 when I started skateboarding.
And-
First ollie.
Yeah.
You asked her.
Yeah.
I remember ollieing up a curb for the first time. I think that's right around 12, 11, something like that.
And did you go nuts?
I was so happy. I couldn't believe it.
I just ollied the curb.
I mean, it's
It's a big
physics.
moment.
It's just like, how do you get your
Mhm.
body to do that? It's such a cool thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
Like
doesn't make a lot of sense.
flipping a board. Like, oh, it's just physics.
The ollie was the only thing I could ever do.
Mhm.
I could never figure out anything else.
right,
like
yeah.
kick flips, tail flips.
You should have hung out with us.
I actually I follow an account. There's a guy. What was his last name? Jelenic. I think.
It sounds familiar.
I want to look it up almost right now. But there's this. Anyhow, he's pro skater.
Yeah.
Just the stuff that guy's pulled off is unbelievable. Like
Yeah, there's-
unbelievable.
I mean, like with anything, I feel like, everything that we do keeps sort of becoming more sophisticated generationally.
Yeah.
And then right now there's also just so much, there's so much like sort of privilege, like people can just really invest in these things and
And
technology.
access. You
and
can know about
access. Yeah. There's skate parks you can go to and take
Mhm.
lessons
Yeah.
at 7 or whatever. But yeah, I was just watching some clips from a skate competition recently, and there's this Japanese kid and he's 15 and he was doing stuff in competition
Right.
that people just couldn't even conceive of 15 years ago.
All right. Let's go past it.
We can cut the skateboard.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
cut some of that.
Well, you didn't. Jess, you didn't answer. Why did you? Did you
I
have
did.
ollie?
I did. Because I started later. I
Yeah.
was probably like, I don't know, 16, 17.
Okay.
I was older.
Mhm.
I did drop in on a 3-foot mini when I was around that age
Yeah.
too, maybe even 18. It took a lot of, I have such a high visual, I can visualize myself being hurt and falling. So like the fear of falling was real. It's a massive thing to overcome when you're on a skateboard.
Well, and you're dropping in.
And it was only, I think it was 4 feet. It wasn't that high, but it was just like, I could just see myself.
Yeah. The rear wheels.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it took a lot of nerve. I'm proud that I even did it. And I was never good at skating, but it was such an important part of my life that basics, I could do basics.
But yeah, we could generalize. I mean, just like, so we can move on from skateboarding.
Yeah.
I think you can generalize out from skateboarding. There's like, the thing about that culture is it's very DIY, right? And it is to a remarkable degree. It's sort of like it's hostile to like structure, right? You've seen when it was very popular in the 90s and stuff. Yeah. You see people try to like base skateboarding into a bigger thing, into like a league, and it just doesn't work. Yeah. There's something about it. And, you know, I mean, I'm always just amazed at how at any subculture where young people will build things, incredible things, without any instruction. Yes. Without any resources.
Just full on creative.
If you think of like hip hop, like some of our favorite songs were built by like destitute 17-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? It's incredible stuff.
Sampling.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Sampling the old stuff.
And yeah, so skateboard in that sense. I think that kind of DIY ethos sort of carries through to our practice.
And that way of seeing really starts at the envelope. The Doors works at the exact moment where architecture meets experience. They specialize in high-performance European windows, doors, and curtain wall systems that don't just fill openings, but define how light, movement, and connection enter a space. And their range spans from aluminum to steel, PVC, and wood systems from manufacturers like Rayners, Schuco, Aluprof, Aluplast, and Aileron, along with fully custom solutions. Oversized sliders, pivot doors, roof-to-wall assemblies, and curtain walls that dissolve boundaries between inside and out. These are not off-the-shelf components. They're architectural tools. What sets the Doors apart is how early they engage. They work collaboratively with architects, builders, and homeowners from the shop drawing phase forward, helping make sure ambitious ideas can actually be built, detailed, delivered, and installed. Lastly, serviced. They think about performance, structure, logistics, and sequencing, not just appearance. If light, view, and precision matter in your work, the Doors understand how to make those things real. If you'd like an introduction, email me. It's Jonathan, Jonathan, waldenhomes.ca, and I'm happy to connect you with their team. Or check the liner notes. For now, let's get back to the MSDS team. So then what led you from what you've described into the study of design and architecture and interiors? Like, was there a specific moment that you can recall where something really hit you, or was it a natural progression of the skills? What did it look like for you? Open to either of you.
I mean, for me, I was really interested in like the craft, like the, you know, the craft side of the industry, right? And so I had an idea that I could make things, like make fine furniture, interesting objects.
Did you take shop in school?
No, I wasn't really a shop guy. Okay. So that happened afterwards. Okay. And then, yeah, so I got quite good at woodworking and these things.
So who taught you how to work on a lathe?
I went to Sheridan College. Okay. So they have a really renowned furniture design build program. It's sort of based on the Bauhaus. And it's at this point, it's kind of geared towards creating artisans, like small studio craftspeople. And so I sort of did that. And then, you know, there's some things. So I think it was interest, both aesthetically and the tendency to like think with your hands and everything. And then there was also like a larger contextual interest in like, you know, this notion that we could make good things that weren't destined for the bin and didn't exploit labor and all of these things, right? And carefully use resources. Right. So those were the other sort of like meta factors that informed my decision. And then, you know, I got to school, I did well and everything. The repetition doesn't suit me. I kind of like to do things once and I don't get a lot of pleasure out of doing it over and over again. And also just the design theory and aesthetics, and the sort of the potential for design to be surprising, kind of caught me.
Okay. So education wise, so you went to Sheridan, and studied,
furniture making.
Furniture making.
It's a design build course. Yeah.
It's a design build course. Okay.
And then I was briefly in a master's program, and I dropped out.
Okay.
I'm a college dropout. I would recommend it.
It was repetitious.
Yeah. I don't need to do it twice.
Yeah, it's like I just got the degree. I don't silly thing. I had the same conversation. I tried dropping out of school when I was at end of second year.
Yeah. And then your dad.
He wouldn't have.
I literally that was what happened. I was like, I'm done. He's like, over my dead body. I was like, I didn't know that your voice could drop that low.
Yeah.
Dad, are you Steven Seagal?
Are you Batman? And yourself, Jess? Like, what was your path in post secondary? What did you do?
So we connected sort of at Sheridan. We knew of each other at Sheridan.
How?
So interior design at the time was in the crafts building.
Okay.
And it was not always there.
It's like the arts wing.
Yeah, but it's moved around. And at that time, it was in the crafts building. And I remember being drawn to that side of the building, the crafts, like just seeing the glass blowing. It's just everyone's frantic and working all the time and at all hours. And I don't think I even knew at 18 I could go to school for crafts. Like, I don't think I knew that, or at least my parents never encouraged it or told me that. Yeah. So I took interior design.
I mean, it's not the most practical.
Yeah. But I couldn't even conceive that you go to school for glass blowing. Like, I didn't even know that was an option.
Like, what a concept,
I know,
right?
Yeah. And the shop, like, that you guys were in, so many, just so much machinery, just like there's just full shops. So I was definitely drawn to that. But I took interior design. I think the reason why I decided to go into interior design was probably like an interest in, so when I was young, we moved from our townhouse or whatever, the semi, and then we moved to a standalone house with new builds. So there was blueprints that we were able to see and make some changes before it was built. And then also seeing that floor plan into the frame, like you could visit the house, like, that they were building. And so there was like walking through the walls of the framing of the house. I was probably 5 or 6 when that happened. And I remember that was like the coolest thing. And I thought, like, just seeing that process from a plan, like I can visualize myself walking in this house just on the blueprint. Or just whatever the, promo pamphlet plan that they gave you. We didn't build it from scratch. It was just a developer.
Yeah, that's okay.
But it was very cool. Like, and I remember that sort of maybe made a sort of like implanted my interest at a young age. And then I just thought, okay, interior design. It wasn't anything more than that. I think I just had to make a decision at 18.
Which is so wild, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're just kind of thrust into making a decision. What are you going to be?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's such a wild concept. Every time I talk about someone sitting here, I'm like, "What? How did you know?" Oh, I just knew. How? How did you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 18.
So,
like, but it's good, speaking to other people who didn't necessarily have a strong interest in, like, we were lucky, we loved art and being creative, and there was a basis of something to make a decision like that. There's like, what if there was nothing? It'd be really hard to make that call at 18 to say like business, like you just have to pick something at that age.
That's why conscription was such a good idea.
Yeah.
You didn't have to make a decision.
Yeah, now we
just go to war.
Now we're sending MBA programs.
All right, I'm just gonna go overseas and go fight for something. So then how did you meet?
So not in college. We knew of each other in college. Yeah. We sort of lived in similar areas.
Yeah, we just ran into each other after college.
Like, it turns out for like decades, whatever pockets of the city we're living, we just kind of ran into each other all the time. And then eventually,
class coincidence, I call them.
Class coincidence. Yeah. We were always in Parkdale at the same time, or at this area at the same time.
You ever heard people tell stories and like, I can't believe I ran into my friend in Abu Dhabi. And you're like, well,
I have that all.
It's not that crazy if you think about it, right?
I mean, we booked the trip together. You're sitting next to me
in business class.
This is amazing. No, but so it was just like random circumstance that you'd happen to have been living in the same area.
Yeah, he said class coincidence. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we were just like in certain areas of the city that were kind of like ahead of the time.
Yeah, everybody about our age, in similar disciplines, from about the same economic background.
Yeah.
Lived in Parkdale or the Junction or something, right? Like where else would we have lived? Kind of. So we kept sort of running into each other.
We kept running into.
And so what is? So we're getting to that stage where we're talking about how you guys meet, but also like, what were you doing at the time? You'd finished school, so were you working in interior design? Were you working in the craft now? Like
I had worked.
You were doing chromoly with Adam.
Yeah, I had worked as a millworker for a few years, and then I said, "Fuck that." So I worked in. I sort of got some skills, just like CAD skills and stuff like that. And then got my first like design job at office furniture company. And then I had sort of left that to start a small practice with another guy. And then sort of I think we were winding that up when Jess and I met.
Mm-hmm.
So how many years out of school would have been?
That
10.
That many, yeah.
Probably.
Really?
Something like that. Maybe a decade. Something like that. Yeah.
No, it's less than. I think
was it?
6 years.
But the practice, so what he had done with Chromoly, his one of his items is a permanent collection in SF MoMA.
Oh, right.
So you say that really quietly. Can you say that again?
It's like a small thing that they made, they designed, but it gives him access to any gallery.
It was just
got like the pass, the VIP pass.
It's an absurd object that's
in the permanent collection.
It's brass knuckles, with a wine screw on it. We call it the bourgeois brass knuckles. So it's a wine opener that looks like brass knuckles. And it was included in a show on wine in SF MoMA. And so I get the prestige, which I never mentioned. And never would have brought it up here. I'm saying I'm in the permanent collection. But it also, the cool thing is I have this card that gets me for the rest of my life into almost any gallery.
All the major galleries.
Come on. Yeah. Does that exist? It's like the key to the city.
Yeah.
Yes.
I almost never use it.
Which is lost somewhere in the house.
No, I have. I know where it is.
You do? Okay.
I'm a Philistine.
I love this right now.
It's cool.
You wouldn't have talked about this, but that's what happens when we bring people together.
Yeah, they
know each other, right?
That's why we're here.
I'm your hype man.
It's like therapy.
I trust me, my hourly is nothing. And so you have this. What did you say? It was brass. What was it called? Brass knuckle.
Bourgeois brass knuckles.
Bourgeois brass knuckles. Mm-hmm. And is it still fabricated, or is this was like
no? It was temporarily in production. Okay, because it was really popular on the internet. It's like the aughts, right? So you could still kind of go viral with these little clever things. Yeah. Without being on TikTok. And people really liked it. It got picked up for a while, and then the guy was like, "Hey, I just realized I'm shipping a dangerous weapon." So we agreed to not sell it anymore.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Too much liability.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have guessed this is where we're going today, but I am so happy that this is happening right now. This is great. Yeah. Because as you're saying it, I'm like, I could see this as like, this could be a problem.
Yeah. No, because it's brass knuckles made more dangerous.
Yeah.
By the inclusion of a screw.
But at the same time, brass knuckles made way more awesome.
Yeah. It's corny, but cool. I stand by it.
I didn't give you for your. I've made espresso. Sometimes if people are here and they want to have espresso, we have an espresso. So I gave you a standard cup. But actually inside,
you have
I have a brass knuckle mug. Which, not knowing any of this, had I just given it to you, would have been so much better.
That would have been perfect.
So
yeah, and then when we had met, I was also working, I guess, so I'd worked at different design firms, interior design firms. One of them took me to Dubai for almost a year, I think, just as that was booming, before everything sort of imploded.
This is like what, mid 2000s? 4?
Eight?
Oh, yeah.
I think, was it 2000? Something like that.
Yeah, that's back when they were still building the
Oh yeah.
islands.
Yeah. That had been built, and yes, like it was just the boom time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was only supposed to be for a month, but then they just kind of kept me there. And then eventually, I guess by the time we were
Took
working,
your passport, right?
I guess at the time I was freelancing, and so it was really instant. As soon as we started like dating, we started working together because you had just dropped out of your master's program,
Yes.
and we were both available.
You know what it is? You say that, I just think of like that cheesy thing that's on LinkedIn all the time, like available to work or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. So time. You had the time to do it and go try to figure it out.
Yeah, it kind of just happened. I mean, you were making furniture, small prototype type stuff at the time.
Yeah.
And this is and then also that was
and you had been interested in
and we started you with a core group of people in the city, like all the architects like George Charbonneau and Dieter started this like Toronto design offsite essentially before the official to do. And so there was always an opportunity to make things. There was all these shows during the design week in January.
Right.
And so we were making lighting and furniture for these offsite shows for years.
And what kind of lighting were you designing? Like what was the material?
It was always based on a theme or some sort of like, so, and actually one of them was the origins of like the ladder light that ended up getting produced by a Danish company. But whatever suited the theme. So like it just, whatever you wanted to do.
I mean, it's just like the group would meet throughout the year and sort of decide on a theme together and then develop the show from there.
It's a small prototype stuff that, within Toronto and Canada, nothing would get picked up, but it's essentially the same thing as what we had done when we went to Sweden or, Stockholm, except that the people looking at your stuff have the ability to put it into production. And so that didn't happen here, but I mean,
right.
It was still producing small, like one-off prototypes of lighting and furniture.
Okay. And how did you come to the name?
Make stuff, design stuff.
It was make shit, design shit, and then it was also the double entendre of the
MSDS.
Material Danish.
It came to I think it was just again it was the sort of DIY thing, and it's just like we just didn't get too caught up on the name at the outset, like let the thing be what it becomes.
Yes.
But it was just, I think it was something we said in conversations.
Yeah,
like
what
what should we be doing?
Like, or if people would ask, what do you do?
Oh, I think it's more of an idealistic thing, if I remember correctly. It's what do we want to do? We just want to make stuff and design stuff, and that's literally how it came. It just sounded kind of good.
I like the other one. I like the other version better.
Make shit design.
Yeah, 100%.
Keep it PG.
It's maybe not as sophisticated, but at the same time, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And making things in, familiar with shops and fabrication places like the material safety dash. It's like right there. It's like you see it even, I think, in
it's really
the doctor's office. I feel like I see MSDS a lot wherever I go.
Yeah, it's kind of a nod to our origins, having worked in factories and stuff,
right?
Or like shops. Right?
So I kind of alluded to at the beginning. It's a multidisciplinary studio. So you're creating all different kinds of stuff, and it's not just lighting. So what have been some of the non-lethal things that you've designed?
Well, that's a very limited category. We designed, like, I think the smallest thing we designed is a tape dispenser.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing we designed is a house
yeah,
and very big offices. Right.
Yeah. And then in terms of furniture, like probably the contract furniture, like the tables and the there's a Canadian contract company that we did a series of workstations.
Yeah.
So that would probably be in terms of scale.
And when you're
and everything in between.
So when you're looking at creating any of these pieces, is it a situation where there is a call for an RFP to create something, or is it a scenario where you are inspired to create something and then you pitch it to a place?
I think since this is like in sort of an insider's context, this podcast, I think it's fair to talk about like the behind the scenes reality a little bit.
Yeah,
there's the ideal of creative practices, then there's the reality.
Yeah,
and I think that
the reality is harsh.
Yeah, and it's very hard to control. In a perfect world, we might produce everything just out of the sense of inspiration or something like that. But that's just not how things work, right?
Yeah.
And we live in a city where a rundown house is $1.5 million, right? So you have to.
That's not true. There was that really small one that was for sale. You know about that tiny little thing?
Yeah.
Do you remember that on like it's
one of those listings that go viral internationally.
Yeah. It was like a slice of Toronto. It was like I don't know, it was like 6 feet wide or something.
I think I remember that one.
I'm joking when I say 6 feet, but it was like maybe 10 feet wide.
And less than $1 million.
And it was $1 million.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's just crazy, insane.
Sorry.
So as much as I think we've been playing out this sense that this thing just came together in this DIY fashion, I think while that's true, there's a fair degree of calculation in terms of us knowing we need to build different aspects of the business. For instance, with the product design stuff, we really like designing and making objects, but we also know that like it's very hard to make a living doing that, with the exception of contract furniture. Contract furniture is the one space where you can do really, really well. And so we've tailored our portfolio. And when we did Sweden and we did Milan, we were sure to bring stuff that would sort of hint to people that we were capable of doing this work. Right. So there's been stuff that we've done on our own, has gotten picked up at shows. Mm-hmm. And then we've also worked on multi-year briefs.
But I think that originally it would have been all one-off prototypes that we brought to those shows, and then it was picked up. And then once we've sort of established these relationships with the companies, and we've spoken to so many of them, they're very supportive, and especially in Denmark. But a lot of the companies we work with are Danish. Only after we are established and in production with a bunch of companies do they start sending briefs, right? So it doesn't start like that. We definitely started with our own designs, shipping it there, showing it there. Mm-hmm. And then, our first year in Stockholm, we had shown in, I think, IDS probably for 3 years, but like the first year in Stockholm was, I think
we were told
was almost picked up. It was very whirlwind experience.
We were told by Kleisum Kobi Sorune. Do you know them?
No, I don't. I feel like I shouldn't be saying that, but I don't.
Yeah, they're good, very good. They were in town with Mjölk. John had brought them in, and we saw them at the interior design show, and they really liked our work, and they were like, "You should go to Sweden," and so we went to Sweden, and they were right. I think.
Before you tell me the next part of this and you say they were right, I just want to ask, because I'm going to preface this. Mm-hmm. There's those that listen to this and I know that they're established in the industry, and then there's those that aren't fully immersed in the industry yet, and they're getting their foot in the industry, and they want to understand what is the experience like. Mm-hmm. So I really like to tap into that type of a moment for just a sec. Mm-hmm. You've been told you should go to Sweden, and you analyze where you're at, right? Mm-hmm. And the associated cost of going on that trip, and risk. Yeah, not knowing it. So, what was that like for the two of you? Jess.
Well, first, before they said you should show at Sweden, they said, "How many years have you been showing in Toronto? How many years have you been doing this?" And when we were like, if it was more than 1 year,
I think it's 8 years at that point.
And they're like, "That's too many years. You need to leave and go somewhere."
These three men simultaneously grab their foreheads and roll their eyes, because
that would never happen there. They're so quick to support out of school, right out of school. They have a whole machine of people
and so we were. So this is I like talking about money and stuff like that, because this is it's one of the secret things in our society that everyone likes to elide, but it's a sort of bounding factor in almost anything that everybody does. And so we were lucky enough at the time to have gotten some relatively big interior design jobs. So we were kind of rolling at this point.
Okay.
Because when you do a show there are ways to do it more cheaply. You can sort of split a booth with several people and bring 2 objects each, which some people do. But to do a standalone booth, including the prototypes and the shipping and all that stuff, you're looking at $20,000, $25,000 something.
I'm glad you said this,
Yeah.
And
Okay.
also to make the collection. That's inclusive of the things that you
Well, that includes
make.
the figure I quoted includes the cost of our prototypes. We
No,
kept
exactly.
it,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it doesn't include any pay for me to.
no
So it's
labor.
probably 3 months of designing and having to drive around the city, having things made.
In saying that, we brought a
That's free.
huge collection. Of,
Designers work for free. I don't know if you knew that.
Sorry, you're gonna say
no, I was just saying the pieces that we brought were furniture, like large pieces.
Yeah.
So it was substantial stuff that we were building.
And how you transfer? Are you
big
you,
crates?
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
so
we
you're
find brokers.
okay.
Yeah, and then we figure all that.
Yeah, so you're dealing with the logistics of
Yeah, the
The
crate
logistics.
to get there.
It's about $4,000 to ship a crate.
And
Yeah.
also,
Well, that's
no
pretty
one
cool.
had shown it. No Canadian really had shown. Definitely no Canadian had shown at the Stockholm Furniture Fair. We were the first
In the
ones.
greenhouse part.
They were shocked that there was even a Canadian in this area of international designers. So we didn't have anyone to ask. Like we didn't
Right.
have anyone. Like whereas
What's the groundwork? What's associated with having to do this?
yeah? How do you get your crate? Like
Yeah.
like just
What
so
should
many
we
things.
budget? You know, yeah.
Mhm.
What are the
You mean
associated
your
tasks?
broker contact? Like anything? Like we were
Mhm.
giving that out. After.
And how many years ago was this?
We can never remember the date.
I
20,
feel like it was
2014.
over 10 years ago.
So 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And again, as a frame of reference,
Mhm.
Mm.
you know, Google was fine, great. Like you could Google
Mhm,
something,
mhm.
that's great.
Mm.
But like you didn't have any of the AIs that exist
Oh, yeah.
now, and
No.
you,
Although I will say though, like that's a good point you bring up. That even like technology will continue to change,
Yeah.
and I think it's been more obvious to us over the last decade. A lot of the social ills that all this stuff has brought along with it. We started our studio, and I guess we're sort of starting our post college careers in a relative golden era, right? You could suddenly get eyes from all over the world on a thing for the cost of posting something on, getting something posted on Boing Boing or something, right? Digital cameras were cheap. You could use Google to figure things out.
Yeah.
So we were really lucky. And I think that, now a lot of like technology is overtaking people. So I think it would almost become a hindrance to a lots of people. But
right.
for us, it was just like we just skated through
Mhm.
on that kind of.
That's true.
We were lucky, unfortunately.
But so you arrive there and you've now spent 25, call it 25 grand, and you haven't been paid for 3 months.
That's normal.
Right. You whispered, that's normal for anyone listening.
For product design.
Because for anyone that thinks that people in architecture and design are paid exorbitant amounts of money for their services, guess what? They're putting in more time
Mm.
than you think they are. And the billable doesn't ever equate to the amount of time that's been added up for whatever they're delivering. It's such a crazy business.
It
It
is,
is,
yeah.
yeah. It
So-
is.
So you go there and you said everything was picked up?
I think so. The first year was just, I think it was,
3/4 or something, which is phenomenal.
It was-
we're
uh,
very fortunate.
it was just such a new experience to have, like, first of all, designers, high profile designers that work for companies saying, you need to talk to, like, come here. You need to talk to like these companies that we work for. These are big companies, all the new Nordic big ones. It wasn't competitive. It wasn't like scarce, like, whereas in places where there's not a lot of a design culture, like you hold on to your contacts, you don't share them. And it was just like people were coming and just sending people to our booths. And it was just a different experience.
Mhm.
And for us, really felt like we finally were being seen in a way, like just like appreciated and
And we were really helped out by firms like Form Us with Love.
oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
they gave us really big
Mhm.
opportunities,
Mhm.
which we're forever
Yeah.
grateful for.
Yeah, that was probably the second year we showed there. There was a few things that
Yeah.
stood out and that really like kind of like, again, coming back a second year, just sort of confirmed that, okay, this isn't a one stop, like, or one time hit maker type thing.
Yeah.
And so I think the second time it was like, okay, now we got to work with you. If it wasn't the first year, it was
Yeah.
the second year kind of thing.
So you leave that show, you've got stuff that's now been picked up. Are these products that are now going to become, are they one-offs that you're going to have to go and fabricate, or do you now work on handing the design over to a fabrication?
Mhm.
Yeah, with the
So-
product thing, you work on a licensing basis.
Yeah. Okay.
So there are different terms, but it's always something like 2.5 to 7% of wholesale, and that can be calculated differently.
Yep.
And it's important to look at that because it can make a big difference.
Yep.
And since most products don't do well on the market, most licensed products don't pay well. But then the hits kind of make up for the misses. And it can be very lucrative. Whoever designed the Aeron, Bill Stumpf, designed the Aeron chair. I mean, that's generational wealth, right?
But that's not.
That's the extreme. That's sort of an extreme degree. But we know people who have designed sofas for good companies, and they're making like lots and lots and lots of money.
Yeah. Yeah, the royalties. It was one of the things my dad told me when I was a kid. He was like, "You want to go find something that you can create the need, and then the service is paid on a monthly basis, and you can sit back and collect royalties."
Yeah. Right.
I was like, well, that doesn't sound like there's many things that you can do that with. He's like, that's the key.
That's true. Good advice, Dad. Steered you in the right direction.
Yeah, and yet here I am. And I'm doing a podcast where I need to have the new content all the time.
Yeah.
And you're pumping out stuff on Instagram
and social subscription medias. Razors was right there,
right,
the whole time.
Like, yeah, just anyhow. So, God bless him. He taught me a lot of good things, but. To the point that you make, like it's not an easy business to be able to go and like actually find a way to make a substantially high paying,
huge barriers to entry. The smaller ones, again, in these countries like Sweden, Denmark and stuff, they're more supportive of young designers. The companies will take risks on them, and there's just different,
although in saying that now it's sort of an oversaturated, so many designers.
Yeah, they're always been ebb and flow, and it's definitely a buyer's market for manufacturers because
it's exploitative.
Yeah, but not systemically. It's just design schools globally are pumping out kids at a greater rate than the industry can incorporate.
Support, yeah,
right.
Yeah. So what are when we talk about the establishment of your studio and then having some hits? Was it and has it always been the two of you, or have you had other people that have worked in the studio? And what is that? What does your practice look like in terms of scale?
Yeah.
What's been the highest and the lowest?
Yeah, I think the highest, there was a massive tech kind of startup culture boom in Toronto, like a lot of VP, like a lot of money coming in to invest in all these startups. So at the peak, we were working with a lot of tech companies and office buildings. Yeah. So I think we had 4 employees, probably 1 intern, always paid. We had many University of Waterloo architecture interns who were great.
It's a very good school.
And they make sure that their students are paid, which is the way to do it.
Yeah.
And
so they have a vested interest.
Of course. No, it's And then, so 3 plus an intern type of thing. And we scaled depending on, that would probably
3 employees, so 5 altogether. Plus intern.
Yeah, I think we had 4 employees but 1 intern.
Right.
But anyway, so there was that would be the max. Like we always said, we'd like the idea of maybe having a company of 4 in total, like 1 product designer, 1 interior designer, sort of support, because we don't want to just sort of dictate the work, right?
Yeah, you want to be involved in the creative process.
Yeah, we are, and we always have been, and that was the first time I think that we started becoming managers of all these projects, all these
the market wants you to scale. Like if you want to be sustainable and you want to be big enough to absorb, lean times and stuff like that. You sort of like the incentives are to scale,
right?
But then you sort of create these specializations. So if we looked at scaling, then I would be business development and talking to clients all day, every day, or something like that.
And not even that, the projects that we would take on,
they would change in
nature. So again, another thing that sort of where we connected is just sort of the values that we share. And there's a lot of things that we think about a lot of things. And so we've thought about people we'd want to work with, companies we want to work with. And it would be hard for us to find like organizations or companies or things that we would feel okay with if we had to scale. Yeah. Like there's a lot of
I think that's definitely
things that don't align with our values that we hold pretty to a high standard. And that's what's kind of kept us a little bit more selective, sort of intentionally.
Yeah, running lean gives you the opportunity to be more selective because you don't have a monthly nut you have to make, right?
Which is not a good business model. It's just something that's really important to us. Well, so it's hard to scale.
Yeah, but you're saying there the same sentence. You're saying it's not a good business model, but it's something that's good for you.
Yeah.
And so it is a good business model if that's the
For
business
us,
model
yeah.
that you want, right?
Yeah.
Not, I guess, in my speaking to so many people, what I have really come to appreciate is that for some people, they want to scale to the point where they can have, 100 employees or 1,000 employees and work in that environment. And then there's others where you just want to have 2 people head down or sole proprietor head down doing it because you don't want to hand things off.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally
It
It's
depends.
a different
Yeah.
business model. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to do heroic, monumental architecture, big buildings, you need to scale.
Yes.
Obviously, right? You can't be a 3-person shop to do that. Or if you want a $10 million cottage, you need to become a partner at a big firm.
I actually don't. I will say I don't agree.
Yeah.
I know a couple guys and I know a couple women that run independent practices that are designing, could be $5-10 million cottages.
Oh yeah, I meant own. If you want to own.
Own. Sorry.
But a small practice could.
Did you say own it?
Yeah.
I missed that. I apologize.
Maybe I misspoke.
I was like,
own
what
it.
does he know? He knows something.
Yeah, I'm like, is there something we don't know?
At that point, you're getting lucky. You got a trust fund.
Yeah. It's like, what does he know, or what?
Or
does
you
he...
don't stop production on the bourgeois wine opener. And you sell specifically to the assassin market.
Yeah, right. Oh my god.
So what was that like? Because you described there what it was like working with tech companies and doing office design, and I would have to assume that you could kind of go carte blanche on what you wanted to come up with in creative design.
Yeah, I think at the time.
It's
because
a frothy time in retrospect. We didn't realize it at the time,
Mhm.
but there's a lot of money.
10 years ago.
Around.
Yeah.
So we got phone calls from several different companies who were basically like, "Hey, we just got 60 million from an incubator, and we need offices like in 3 months, and that's it. Let's go." Well, that one CEO that we met with, and I thought.
Oh yeah.
They were like, "Okay, he's gonna want to meet with you guys personally," and I thought it was gonna be kind of this really intense meeting, and it was something. I mean, it's pretty wild. He's a really smart guy, and he just wanted to talk about abstract concepts and his theory of how teal was really important in his office.
Teal.
I think it was like a color that they had used in the industry to sort of like symbolize
some sort of emotional, symbolic kind
growth.
of notion that he had.
Okay.
But so really, not the kind of
Jess is just shaking her head. Like, I don't understand it, but like I'm here for it.
Yeah. There was a lot of room at the time for this, like, just super dreamy, and it was like the Google model. Everyone wanted to be, slightly infantilizing model of like these people spending all their time in the offices.
Well, yeah, the offices were about retention, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, they're
play,
about
but so
retention.
much
culture and creativity and stuff.
Yeah, chief culture officer.
Yeah.
So many cultures. Yeah.
And which I think a lot of that has become a cliche, and we always avoided like slides and stuff.
Yeah.
It was a line we wouldn't cross. But overall, I don't know. I think it's good. Like, it's not a bad thing.
No,
they
they
have concern for your employees.
There's a lot of massage rooms that we designed. Like they spent a lot of money on their employees.
That's gonna be clipped.
It's so good.
It's part of the model. It
Massage
was such a big
design
part
stuff.
of the
It can go so many ways.
Yeah. Lots of things that they wanted from us. And again, it was a whole new culture for office design.
Yeah.
So we were at the
new strategy
peak of that. Yeah.
So what would you say at the time was like one of the the way we're positioned in the office right now? I'm sitting on a stool, and Jess and Jonathan are sitting on chairs, and I am trying to block the sun.
Oh
Yeah, you're doing a nice job of it.
So every time he maneuvers, I'm trying to move with him. We're sparring. So what was some of the most wild concepts that you put forth that you were shocked that they said yes? Or do you have anything like that?
I think,
I don't think we were too.
yeah,
No.
I think early on, like Shopify was our first big tech office. Like, you know, it had just sort of grown outside of the very like startup-y world. And we did play with big concepts then. And I think we sort of realized, because we're always trying to, like, our job is to sort of stay ahead of things, right?
Yeah.
If we could see where this was going, you could see where all the even other Shopify offices went. And it was, again, like very infantilizing. And there's a lot of just things that just didn't make sense. We can't justify doing things that for the sake of just doing it and just ornament or just, you know, things like that. So although there were strong themes that sort of wove its way through Shopify's first office.
Yeah.
From that point on, I think we were just like, we just want to create places that felt like that obviously comfortable and allowed for like a variety of different like uses, but it was less about concepts and sort of thematic kind of like design. And as it turns out, there was a lot of demand for that. You know, it was like the WeWork model, like make your office feel like a home.
Right.
And that was like before any of that was really
Resimmercial.
Yeah, before that.
So if you could call out what your ideal opportunity would look like, or your ideal design would be, whether it is something in product or it is something in interiors, what would that look like for you? What it has been something that you have not been able to do that you really want to do?
No, interesting question.
I mean, product, we were sort of working on it. But
yeah, we've been working on our ideal brief with our sort of ideal company for a couple of years.
And it's not something that we can discuss, right?
No.
Okay, that's fair.
Mm.
Stinks.
So yeah, we've been looking. What's that?
Kind of stinks, but I also completely understand and appreciate that.
Can't talk.
Because you want that to come to fruition.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, no, I think we've been pretty lucky. I think that is there anything else off your head you can think of?
No, I mean, I guess it's not necessarily the ideal, but I was thinking, like we were talking about it a little earlier, just how to incorporate the skills and the, like, what we can offer in a world where, like, it's more, I don't think it exists, but like, let's say it was something to do with like civic design or something. It's harder to get into a world where you're fighting budgets and things like that.
Well, but are you talking about like socially responsible design?
Yeah, but where so we've done a lot of things, but what that looks like is we end up working for free. So we will do things that are important to us and that are more, aligned with our ethics.
Yeah,
but we work actually for free. So that
that doesn't really work.
No, it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
I mean, we happily do as much as we can because we have like a service to offer, but how that looks like is sort of the thing that would be an ideal if there was a world in which that made sense.
Sure, yeah. If you can blend like some sort of
responsible.
Yeah, socially responsible, important work with design, which tends towards, what's the word I'm looking for? The aesthetic, right?
Yeah, I guess the funding in Canada is not necessary. There's not a value to design to the level that we would want to execute. So maybe this actually does exist, just not here. You know, I bet you, we've seen countries around the world where just the park bench, like Santon Cole had a bench.
Oh yeah.
Where was that? It was a
Barcelona,
beautiful bench. Yeah, I mean, it must have been Barcelona, but just, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing about design and architecture and all. You know, there are many differences, but they're similar in the sense that you're just a part of a sometimes very large system.
Yes.
Right. Ideally you're sort of an intervention in a system that has its own prerogatives, right? And you're supposed to, you know, I guess thinking like historically, like the role of the architect is like you intervene and you make something beautiful where something just like very practical might have instead occurred. And I think and increasingly, especially in the West, the shots are kind of called by the private sector, and a lot of stuff is being sort of rationalized. And in the West, we don't have the carryover industries like, you know, if you're in Sweden or in Italy, there are these old industries, which bring their own sort of like principles and craft and knowledge and everything. And they're going to do something excellent, regardless of who comes and cooperates with them. And here, it's more of a struggle because we don't have that inheritance. Right?
Well, I mean, you talk about it in the way you experienced your first show, right? Like,
yeah, right.
You know, you go over there and your whole booth sells out, and here people can't really understand it, rationalize it,
or they can't.
Yeah, or there's interests, but it needs. I mean, even just
so
I
conservative.
don't want to turn this into a conversation about the difference between, you know, Europe and North America. But yeah, it's conservative taste. I think consumers are more like educated. I feel like this is going back to like old Bauhaus conversations about like whether or not you have to sort of educate the public on the importance of good design, architecture, and products and stuff. So they have more of that too. So yeah, as a designer, you can only affect the system. Like there's a sort of a limit to how much effect you can have on it. And that's fine. I don't think any one person should have like total control or total say. It has to be sort of democratic and a negotiation.
Would you say that, I mean, if there was an opportunity presented on some form of product here, or there was an opportunity presented in some form of a kind of like a collaborative approach between product and design, and I'm trying to think of like the exact type of an example that I could give you, but what idea, and I guess I'm asking this because I never know who's listening to this. Right? Like there's a chance someone listening right now could be the person that says, you know what, it sounds like that what they have is what I'm looking for.
Sure.
And it could be that, you know, we've got an architecture practice listening to this and they're saying, you know, like maybe I want to go speak to them and commission them to do something, design something. Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering, like, is your interest in, is it in residential? Is it in a commercial application? Is it in, you talked about civic. And so obviously that would be of interest, something with social and element. And I say this because like when I went through your website and I looked at the products that you've done, I was like blown away. And I said this at the very beginning of this discussion that I started talking about it with a bunch of different people. Cause like, I was really impressed. It was like, it was amazing. I was thinking of, you have to excuse me that I don't remember the name of it, but the seat product at the gallery.
The Boulevard.
The Boulevard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Perch.
The Boulevard to me was like one of the solutions to enjoying a gallery in a way that you can't typically enjoy.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on a swivel stool right now in some capacity that is not quite the same thing, but it gives you the same effect of like you're not actually stationary.
Yeah.
It's temporary, but it's balanced.
Yeah, we call it perched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's perched. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a great product. I'm like, why is that not in every single gallery all over the world?
Yeah.
Or airport.
Yeah, there's such a need for that. And it's a new category. Like it wasn't something that existed as a product. And that was through a lot, like obviously very intentional, but hard to make work because it's new. Like it's a new concept. You can't really fill.
Yeah, and you have to sort of plan for it, and it has to be installed, which is not everyone wants to
have a
bolt to the floor. But we have. I mean, I've been able to go to Denmark and to go to Plus Halle's showroom, the manufacturer of that, and observe it being used a couple of times in their openings, where they're showing new products and some older products, and it always gets used so well, and it's used in precisely the way that we envision, and it's very gratifying to see that.
So is it still something that can get produced now?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Oh, it is. It's in
still being
production in Denmark. Yeah.
Okay, so
but you can get it here.
Yep.
So I'm just going to say this. I'm going to actually do a plug because I think it's worth it. Okay. If you're listening right now, if you got to this point, which I'm happy that you have, because I have found this conversation among the many that I have had to be like so interesting. Really enjoyed this so far. I haven't really paid attention to the time. But I say this because if you look at this product, and I'm hoping that we can we utilize it as for Instagram? So you'll be able to go to Behind the Build Instagram. You can see it there. This product, if you have like a client that is an art collector and there's space inside of whatever you're going to design, like connect with MSDS. You have to. If you're designing a gallery and open space is fantastic. Is there a way, as I'm saying this, is there a way that product can be installed and then removed?
The only configuration I think could be freestanding without it even be bolted, like to be bolted to the ground, is the circle, like it, because it has all the curves.
Yeah.
So it is. I would imagine you could snake it so that it is.
Yeah, you could. I mean, there's a configuration.
Find a configuration.
Configurator.
Yeah. There is a.
So they built one, so it's very easy to specify.
Okay.
And if you were careful about configuration, then it wouldn't need to be bolted.
Right.
It could just be standalone.
So I say that because, like, if you're thinking that you were going to go design a gallery and it would also be utilized as an event space, you'd still be able to move this out of the way to be able to utilize the space for events. Yeah. But again, I'm saying this because I guess my infatuation with this product, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. And
that is an example of the ideal product. So from the beginning,
ideal process
and product. The end product was due to the process. Like it was a really good, it was a brief that was really thought out. So it was Form Us with Love, who we've mentioned. They're just like a very established Swedish design firm, had closely worked with this company called Plus Halle, sort of like became their art directors and created these briefs and brought in designers that they wanted to work with to bring in this collection and collaborative among, and in this case, it was just 3 designers, including themselves.
Yes, and Nick Ross.
And Nick Ross was the other. And so, and the brief was, and in this particular one, it was called Dwelling, and it was post-COVID, and there was a lot going on with this. Or was it pre-COVID? Yeah. Oh yeah, it was pre-COVID. But that was why this one was kind of interesting. We were trying to figure out how to have like contact. Actually, no, this one was more about
this brief was all about they wanted us to like consider all of the activities that take place in public spaces and offices and
bring people together. It was actually pre-COVID.
But that they sort of like everything you might do that isn't sitting and working was just like sort of about liminality, kind of like how do you accommodate these activities that aren't working and aren't these other things,
this in between space,
and so you create this sort of like, we envision it as a bit of it's like a low commitment chair, you know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a percher, it kind of suits us. So.
And so that was a really intentional brief. We had collaborative like meetings together. We showed our process. They were super supportive. They did prototypes, like the whole process. Yeah. And then they're such good manufacturers. So the end product was really exceptional.
Right.
And of course, they invested in this configurator on this website. It makes it super easy to specify. But from the beginning to the end, it was like the ideal working relationship.
Yeah, it's a really fun collaboration.
It's funny. So when we first talked about like what this podcast was going to be like, we're like, yeah, we're going to, it's about humanizing the people that are involved in this and design and all the rest of it. And it's not about individual projects. Yeah, here I am. We're on the individual project.
Talking about a bench.
It's like, this is exactly what I said this wasn't going to be. But here I am. But you can also understand, like, as we're talking about this, you can hear and understand the creative process of what it is to be able to go sketching Transformers and book covers, right? Into eventually writing a brief and being a part of a brief and working with other creative practices, and how the evolution of that happens to the point where you have a product that is now utilized to be able to take in the professional element of what initially started your journey in this. When you've got a person that's got a painting up on a wall and you've got something to perch yourself on and take a look at it. I mean, it's a pretty circular, beautiful thing.
It is beautiful.
It's very, it's a really privilege, like manufacturing or any sort of industrial concern is pyramidal, right? With like the C-suite at the top.
Yeah. And
the resource gathering and all these people who work super, super hard to make these things, make almost anything. And the design position is very near the top, right? You're sort of helping to marshal the resources, and it's a relatively privileged and rare position. And so when we don't take it for granted, and it's pretty special to be able to get these things, sort of bring them to life out of that.
So I guess I'll say this, that if you're in the space of wanting to come up with some interesting product design, don't fuck around. I can't believe I just said that, but yeah, don't fuck around and reach out to Jess and Jonathan, because as you've heard for the last little while, They're pretty humble. They're pretty interesting, and they definitely love what they do. And it's pretty, I think, also special that you have a husband and wife duo involved in what the evolution of the business is, having been so interested in the same hobbies and lifestyle over the years that like it just kind of all comes together. I'm happy to have met you and had you as a part of this. Thank you so much for joining on this.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's been really fun.
I'm not done yet because I haven't asked you now, like at this stage of life, what do you do for yourselves? Like what's outside of work? What are you doing to be able to take your mind off of the stresses of what's paying the bills?
I have a personal interest package that just sounds like an 80-year-old. So I paint.
Okay.
And I garden.
Wait, hold on. Paint. We didn't. I'll get to the gardening. What kind of painting?
So again, back to winning all the art awards in high school.
Yeah.
I never picked up a paintbrush since high school. This is the crazy thing. I'm not joking.
You just got back to this recently?
Yes. And Johnny was taking our son for a week to BC. I had never had a week to myself post-child. And I was like, I got to do something. I got to, like, you learn to maximize your time now that after you have a kid, you're like, every minthink has to count. So I was like, I'm not going to take this for granted. And I was like, I think I'd like to paint. I had probably my acrylic paint from probably this time. For whatever reason, it was still fine. I didn't buy any.
Because it was sealed correctly.
Yes, it was sealed correctly. And all the paintbrushes. I didn't buy anything to do this. I had just started painting with everything I had owned for my entire.
Crazy.
And I had not painted.
You had an easel?
My sister had an easel I borrowed. She just gave it to me. So I have it currently. And yeah, I painted. And it was actually, it turned out much better than I expected. It was a scene of a photo that I took when we went to Hancock Shaker Village. So it was part of a. We did a show in New York called Furniture Utopia, and it was Furnishing Utopia. And they, as part of that, they took all the designers to like Hancock Shaker Village, like an original Shaker Village, like in its form, like as it was. And so the lighting and the subject matter was just beautiful. So every photo I feel like I took was just beautiful. So it was always something I liked as a photo. And I thought, that would be, especially the lighting, capturing the lighting in this painting. So I just painted one of my photos. And it's currently hanging in our house. Do you have a picture of this photo? I do.
So can I make a request?
Yeah.
So during the course of this release, can you send that photo? And we'll have to remember this. I'll make sure I put it in my liner notes.
And imagine if it was just the worst. You're asking. You don't know what you're asking.
To be fair, I mean, I've had people share stuff with me that was like that they did when they were like 6 and 7 years old. They drew, and I put it up as stories because to me, this is the evolution. That's the reminder that you have to go pick up your child.
That's
right. Yes,
that's okay. I mean, we're human. You got a kid. I'm glad you have the reminder. I don't.
Yeah. Well, we are here. We're not.
He's walking by himself. Yeah. I'm just joking. But the to me the beauty of that is that again that you just talked about how all of the product you use to do this. Mm-hmm. Is from school.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't remember buying it. So yeah, it's old.
So yeah, you got to check. Jess will send this to me. It'll be up on our stories. So check stories because that's where it'll be positioned. I think it's fantastic. So, and what else? So you said that and gardening.
Oh yeah. And gardening and really into gardening to the point where now we do like landscape consulting for our residential clients. It sort of happens naturally because they always ask like, what do we do with the front? And so instead of just guessing, I feel like when I have information in my brain that I've invested research in, you got to use it, right? Like why else are you doing it? You're not doing it just for yourself. I mean, it can be a hobby, but so now it's being put to use. But I do love gardening. I do that a lot.
Okay.
And Johnny has been boxing
for a year.
I like punching.
Working on the skipping too.
Yeah,
we talked about that.
Oh, now you're just gonna lord it over me that you can skip.
No, I had nothing. I was not going to me. I was leaving. I'm done with me.
This is you. It's more interesting when it's dialogue. Yeah. What else? What do I do? I mean, the thing is, once you have a kid, it takes up so much of your attention and energy, right? So you're just swimming classes and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it is really important to have some I think when you're, I will clarify for the younger people listening to this, when you're younger, you don't have time for balance, right? You're probably, I think design architecture is notorious for requiring extraordinary commitment, right? So yeah, you're probably not going to be going to the gym, and certainly for a decade or two there, I wasn't, but yeah, so boxing, cycling,
like you're doing gravel ride, you're doing
just road biking. I go with a friend, and he's much better than me.
That's okay.
But I do my best to keep up. And
drafting is a skill.
But not when you're like 20 feet behind.
Yeah, I went.
Well,
I just get dropped.
Depends on the size of the person in front of you. You can still draft.
Yeah.
If it's another dad, maybe he's not the most fit person either, and you got a little bit more wind resistance.
Yeah. What else? Do I do? I think that's about it.
Okay.
I feel like, funny enough, we discovered chess again because our kid is really into chess. So we again borrowed our sister's chess.
Yeah.
And just to play, just like for fun, we play chess a lot.
I have something to add to that. Interesting. I don't know that I've told this on here yet, but when I was younger, I tried out for a few movies. I used to do acting and stuff, and I had callbacks. There was a movie that came out when we were kids. It was called Searching for Bobby Fischer.
Oh yeah.
I had a callback to be Bobby.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
But here I am.
That's wild.
It was and like part of the test was like about playing chess. You had to be able to play chess.
And could you?
When I was younger, I could.
Yeah.
Not anymore. But chess is such an interesting game. My kids and I, there's a game called Corridor.
Okay.
It's a really, really fast paced game. You can play it with 2 or you can play with 4. And there's walls. You have 10 walls and you have a piece.
It's a physical
board.
Okay.
And you have to be able to you have to have a path to the other side. So if you're playing with 4 people, imagine the person across from you has to be able to get to your side and vice versa. It's a great game. It requires a lot of thought because you can use walls for either your offense or your defense.
It's like right up our alley. Our kid loves all those things.
My kids love it. Really and it's a game could last 5 minutes or a game could be 15 minutes.
That's cool.
It's funny because it's very spatial. It's almost like floor planning.
It is. I saw it at the Sharper Image 20 years ago in Chicago, and it blew my mind at the Sharper Image. I was like, where do you get that?
You know what? Now, the next time you ask us what we're doing with our spare time, Johnny and Jazz, all we're going to be doing is playing Corridor.
It's such a good game. And anyone that I know that like plays games, that when I introduce it to them, they're like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Another plug.
That's very cool.
There's an idea. Come up with a quick game. That would be crazy.
Kill it with those.
Thank you. Honestly, like I always thank everyone, but like this has been such an incredible time chatting with the two of you. I look at time, I'm like, yeah, we talked, and it was a great chat. It was a pleasure to get to know both of you.
100%.
Thank you. Yeah, us as well. This is yeah. My cheeks hurt from smiling and laughing.
Same. I'm like
sweating.
Yeah. Right. No, look, my studio is not big. Okay, I don't have the trust fund, and I don't have like $10 million home. I'm in a semi-detached, and the space is like 8.5 by 8.5, and it's warm.
It's cozy.
I'm looking at the temperature; it's 23 degrees.
Oh yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Thanks so much
for
having us. Honestly, yeah.
It's our pleasure.